and denigrating language are not the kind of robust public discourse the House of Representatives should encourage among its ranks. Hence, the committee finds that the respondent had acted in a manner that tarnishes and damages the integrity of the House of Representatives and reflects negatively on the House members themselves. Contrary to Section 141A of the Rules of the House of Representatives, a member of the House should always adhere to the Code of Conduct in the House of Representatives, since this was adopted by the House members themselves. Mr. Speaker, when a representative assumes his office, the representative swore to faithfully discharge to the best abilities the duties of an elected representative and of all others that the representative may hereafter hold. A significant part of these duties is to uphold the rules of the House of Representatives. The committee finds that the respondent failed to discharge this sworn duty, not only to the institution, but also to the constituency that elected him to office. Mr. Speaker, respondent violated Section 4C of Republic Act 6713 and committed acts on becoming of a member of the House of Representatives. Complainants alleged that some of the subject social media posts exhibit obscene and inappropriate language, undermining public trust. Likewise, complainants alleged that respondent violated norms of behavior for public officials by acting contrary to good morals, public order, and public interest. During the adjudicatory hearing, complainants likewise pointed to the statement issued by the Philippine Commission on Women, condemning actions of the respondent which constitute a direct affront to the honor and dignity of women and a gross violation of Filipinos' trust. Section 4 of Republic Act 6713 mandates every public official to observe professionalism, justness, and sincerity, nationalism and patriotism, and commitment to democracy. Section 4C of RA 6713 provides norms of conduct of public officials and employees. A. Every public official and employee shall observe the following as standards of personal conduct in the discharge and execution of official duties. C. Justness and sincerity. Public officials and employees shall remain true to the people at all times. They must act with justness and sincerity and shall not discriminate against anyone, especially the poor and the underprivileged. They shall at all times respect the rights of others and shall refrain from doing acts contrary to law, good morals, good customs, public policy, public order, public safety, and public interest. Mr. Speaker, we have held that each member of the House of Representatives must not only be guided by the Code of Conduct, but also by the norms of conduct enunciated under RA 6713 or the Code of Conduct and Ethical Standards for Public Officials and Employees. Members of Congress are, after all, public officials and should be held to the same standards of conduct as any public servant. In fact, Mr. Speaker, members of Congress should be even held to a higher standard of conduct because they are elected and represent a constituency. The respondent, as a public official and an elected representatives, should be more circumspect in the use of social media posts, especially so when the account carries or bears his congressional title. In communicating and socializing through social media networks, respondent should bear in mind that when he communicates, regardless of whether it is a personal matter or part of his legislative duties, creates and contributes to the people's opinion, not just for himself, but of the entire House of Representatives. This is especially true when the posts are viewable not only by his family and close friends, but by acquaintances and the general public. When the respondent made and continued to make inflammatory posts in social media using his congressional title, he is not only representing his name and reputation, but also the name and reputation of the institution he is connected or associated with. Thus, when respondent showed these posts for public consumption, respondent placed himself in a situation where he and the status he holds as a House member may be the object of the public's criticism, ridicule, and mockery. Mr. Speaker, as a representative, he is expected to purport himself as a leader and a role model. A representative should carry himself or herself with the authority and the dignity of the position he assumed. A representative's language and conduct within and without the halls of Congress should carry the weight and significance of one who has been selected among many to represent the best interests of his constituency. The Constitution could have made it more explicit when it states in Section 1, Article 11, that public office is a public trust. Public officers and employees must, at all times, be accountable to the people, serve them with utmost responsibility, integrity, loyalty, and efficiency, act with patriotism and justice, and lead modest lives. We have stated that an elective official is burdened with these considerable obligations because the position carries the distinction in society. Public service requires no less. The committee finds the respondent to have breached the standards of propriety, professionalism, and decency when he permitted to retain posts showing lewd content, degrading views towards women, and ostentatious display of wealth in his Facebook page. Specifically, the committee finds respondent to have violated the tenets of justice, sincerity, good morals, and good customs enunciated in Section 4C of Republic Act 6713 by posting the following in his social media accounts: Exhibit A7, A8, A10, A12, A13, A15, A16 to 24. We agree with complainants that these are not conduct expected of a legislator. In addition, the committee finds respondents' act of retaining inappropriate posts, which admittedly were posted prior to assumption of his office in Congress, evinces deliberate and willful disregard of the institution's high standards and decorum and professionalism. As a legislator, he accepted the standards of conduct when he took an oath of his office as a member of the House of Representatives. The respondent cannot invoke his right to privacy as the social media posts are made public and are publicly accessible. These were made shareable and had been in fact shared multiple times. Following the principle in Vivarius and Spouses Suzara versus St. Teresa's College et al., the respondent does not have reasonable expectation of privacy for subject social media posts because he has not manifested his intention to keep the post private or limited in visibility through the utilization of social media platforms' privacy tools. The fact that the subject social media posts were viewable by the public at the time the complaint was filed with the committee shows respondents' intent not to limit the subject social media post visibility and accessibility. Hence, respondent Barzaga cannot invoke his right to informational privacy. In communicating and socializing through social media, legislators, particularly House members, must bear in mind that what they communicate, regardless of whether it is a personal matter or part of his or her legislative duties, creates and contributes to the people's opinion, not just of the House member, but of the entire House of Representatives, of which he or she is a part. This is especially true when the posts of a House member are viewable not only by his or her family and close acquaintances, but also of the general public. In determining whether the social media posts by Representative Barzaga constitute disorderly behavior, this committee had to look whether these social media posts reflect positively on the image of the House of Representatives and its members. The statements reflect the dignity of his office as a representative of the people and his constituencies in Cavite, and the statements and social media posts reflect the values of the House of Representatives as an institution. The committee likewise took note of the statement of the Philippine Commission on Women condemning the scandalous behavior of the respondent and his disrespect of women's dignity. Ultimately, Mr. Speaker, based on these standards of conduct, the committee finds the social media posts in Facebook to be appropriated and unbefitting of a House member. Respondent's reckless, offensive, and irresponsible use of his social media platform tarnishes the name, integrity, and reputation of the House of Representatives. His deliberate choice to retain certain lewd, unprofessional, and inappropriate photos clearly shows bad faith. Respondent's conduct simply does not reflect the kind of principles and ideals the public expects of a public official, particularly a member of the House of Representatives. Mr. Speaker, after a thorough deliberation on the case, the committee finds that the actions of Rep. Barzaga in posting incendiary social media content through his Facebook accounts and in retaining and failing to remove publicly viewable, inappropriate, and indecent photos to be unparliamentary and unbecoming of a House member, taken in their entirety, the actions of Rep. Barzaga bring contempt, discredit, and disrepute to the name of the House of Representatives. His actions reflected negatively upon the dignity, integrity, and reputation of the House of Representatives as an institution of the members of the House individually and collectively. Consequently, the committee finds respondent Representative KIKO Barzaga of the 4th District of Cavite guilty of disorderly behavior by violating Section 141A, Rule 20 of the Rules of House of Representatives, 4C of RA 6713, or the Code of Conduct and Ethical Standards for Public Officials and Employees, and by engaging conduct unbecoming of a member of the House, and recommends the imposition of the penalty of 60 days suspension from office without the benefit of salaries and allowances during the period of suspension, with a stern warning that repetition of similar misconduct will result to a more severe disciplinary action. In addition, Mr. Speaker, the committee recommends that the respondent Barzaga be directed to remove all 24 social media posts subject of this case within 24 hours from adoption of this report in the plenary. Mr. Speaker, let this be a reminder to all the members of the House of Representatives that as trustees of the people, we are expected to conduct ourselves in a manner that would reflect the dignity of our position in society and in public service. Let us be more circumspect in our acts and words and be mindful of the high standards of propriety required of us as legislators. Maraming salamat, Mr. Speaker.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I now move to adopt the findings and recommendations contained in Committee Report Number 28 and pursuant to our rules, direct that the Secretary General to read the title of the said measure and thereafter call the roll of members for nominal voting.